Hi, my name is Callum, and I'm in 7th grade at Lake Middle School. My friends at the Canton Symphony invited me to interview the composer, Eric Benjamin, of A Secret Gift, so he can tell us about the piece he wrote and a little bit about being a composer. Mr. Benjamin, The Secret Gift is a pretty long book. How did you decide what parts to use in your composition?
Well, I read through the whole book, actually a couple of times, and made things that really moved me and that I thought were really important in helping to tell the story. I made bookmarks there, and then went through and had to select from those bookmarks the things that I thought were really, really important, or that I really thought were very moving in the story. So to help select out some of the things, because it's a long book. Right.
After you selected your favorite parts of the book, how did you decide what music to use?
It was a little like writing for a movie. You ever really listen to the music? And I bet you do, because you like music a lot. So listening to a movie, Harry Potter or whatever, and liking the music that goes along with the scene, right? Well, so I would think of the scene in the book, and then just use my imagination, and it was a little like drawing a picture or anything, you know. You just think, what do I really want to see here, or what do I really want to hear to go behind this part of the story to help people feel the emotions in the story, or to help maybe draw a mental picture.
You decided to use orchestra, chorus, narrator, and speakers for the piece.
Yeah.
Is there anything that any special things that the audience can listen for to help guide them along?
I find hearing a familiar melody, right, it sort of helps you stay tuned in, and and that we kind of like that. So one familiar melody that's in this piece, the story happens during Christmas, so I use some Christmas carols, particularly God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. You know the tune? It's God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, let nothing ye dismay. First of all, it's an unusual song because it's in a minor key, minor mode. So it's a little grim, a little sad sounding for a Christmas carol. But I decided it would be really fitting for this story that's set in really a Christmas during a sad time, during the Depression when things were tough. So that tune you'll be able to listen for, because it happens in the very beginning of the piece, and particularly at the very end, but in other places as well. And then there's some other things that people could listen for when the book describes the dance marathon, when people danced in a marathon in order to make money, and it was grueling. It was it sounds like sort of might be like fun, but it's an awful thing actually. So there I wrote some 30s sounding swing music. Probably my favorite part of the piece. When the May family drives off of their farm and goes one night to Massillon and to buy a present for their daughter. And then I started out imitating the sound of a truck. Only I do sort of what they like to do in the movies, where the truck turns into a magic truck and it starts flying. So the music gets faster and faster, and then you can sort of feel the truck take flight. And it's a little bit of a magical trip to Massillon to do something magical, to buy the first time that this little girl's ever gotten a present in her life, a toy.
about the chorus? Do they ever sing by themselves, or are they always with the orchestra?
The chorus became really important to me. For one thing, again, it's Christmas, so we can reference some Christmas carols and give the chorus some Christmas carols to sing. They sing God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, and they sing a couple of other carols. Sometimes I use them, though, just as though they're another section of the orchestra. What do we have in the orchestra? We've got string instruments, and what's another section of the orchestra? Do you remember? Brass instruments. Do you play a brass instrument? What do you play?
Trombone.
Yes! Give me 5. All right. So I play trombone too. And so they're brass instruments, woodwind instruments, percussion instruments. Did I leave one out? No, that's about that. Plus, we've got the choir, which can sing ooh, ah kinds of sounds, and adds, for me, kind of a magical quality to it. So we've got one more section of the orchestra. So that's how I use the choir. But they also have Christmas carols. And then there is one other poem that's in the story. It was in a letter that was sent to Sam Stone, Mr. Stone, and it was a piece that was a poem that was clipped from a newspaper, I think, or something like that, about helping people, about what a good thing it is to just help people. So I set that for the choir to sing, sort of just again to give the choir something special to do, but it also helps us hear just more of the story, this lovely little poem about helping people that was in one of the letters that Sam Stone received. The idea that it would be really cool at the end of the piece for everybody, including the audience, to sing. So the choir helps lead the audience singing the last verse of God Rest You Merry Gentlemen as a sing-along, because it talks about brotherhood again, and which I think is one of the important themes in the book. Pieces have themes that sort of describe, with music, characters in a story, or maybe the mood. Do you do anything like that in The Secret Gift? Yeah. You know, like in Harry Potter, there's a theme. There's the theme for everybody in there. There's Hedwig's theme and Harry's theme, right? Yeah. So I did the same thing. Particularly for the character of Sam Stone, the main character, I thought of this a melody that would represent him. And I thought it would be kind of nice to have it sort of just solo on the piano. The first way you hear it is kind of simply, as though somebody's just sitting down, sort of playing it out on the piano. So Sam's theme is first heard on the piano, and then it's picked up by the rest of the orchestra, particularly the solo oboe plays it. Actually, it's an English horn, and then it switches over to oboe because it gets a little higher. So, and you'll hear it several times. I try to use it whenever people start talking about Sam's gift or about himself. I try to use it just as a little reminder to people, and it helps sort of tie it together. So they keep hearing some music over and over again that you hear associated with one character. guess it was sort of like a theme underlining, again, kind of a character or a time. We learn a lot about Sam Stone, that he came from Romania, which has a very distinctive musical style of its own in Romania. So I write some music that reminds us of, or will maybe help people imagine Romanian music, so that you think of Sam as a boy in Romania. And then as soon as he comes to this country, it turns into jazz.
Are there anything else that you would like us to listen for?
Well, again, there are a couple of familiar songs, and those would be helpful, I think, for people as they're hearing this piece. So the carol "Here We Come a Wassailing," which has a refrain, "Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too." You recognize that one? "And God bless you and send you a happy new year." Well, that's a song that comes from England. So the story opens with this famous story of Christmas Carol, which is, of course, set in London, and so as we're hearing parts of a Christmas Carol read to us, that Christmas Carol finishes, and the choir breaks into the wassail song, just again to sort of make us feel about that sort of a English good feeling, Merry Christmas, God bless us everyone, that kind of thing. And it'll just sort of put the audience there. But then what I use is a contrast. Immediately after that, they walk out of the church and they find that things are really hard. We're in the midst of the Depression and people are out of work. So it serves really as a contrast. A nice, friendly, warm, happy Christmas feeling, and suddenly, boom, it changes into something else. But that's a familiar song they'll hear. Another familiar song is a lovely song about, called "All the Pretty Little Horses." And this is a very, in a way, it's kind of a sad song, and it speaks about wanting to give something to a child. That song, "All the Pretty Little Horses," is about the moment when this little girl, Felice May, gets given a toy, a carved wooden horse. And so it just sort of helps bring the specialness of that moment home to the audience, I think, in a special way, I hope, especially to hear this familiar song.
Now that we've learned about the piece, can you tell us what it's like to compose something like this?
Well, it's a long work. It's a lot of work. There are a lot of notes for orchestra and chorus. Every one of those notes is a click on a mouse or a click on a mouse pad to put it into the computer. And before that, of course, I had to sit and think about it and think up the music. I started working on this, writing notes back last January, and then worked on it a lot, virtually every free minute, from the beginning of the summer to end of October. Yeah, so it's a lot of time I put in on it. And mostly I'll very often I'll write things out in pencil on music paper, first ideas, and then I go to the computer and I plug it into the computer using the computer software and let the computer play it back to me so I can hear what I've done, and that helps me actually think some more and develop it a little bit more too. But I do start by writing things out on a pencil on paper.
How did you get the idea to write the piece?
Well, a friend of mine who lives out in Massachusetts had read the book, and when I told her that I was working with the Canton Symphony and the Canton Youth Symphony, she said, "Canton, Ohio, do you know about the book?" "What book?" She told me about the book. I read it, and I just sensed that there would be a way for an orchestra to help tell the story. Again, thinking about it as though it were a movie. And that it would be a great way for the Canton Symphony to celebrate this book, which is about something that happened here in Canton. They got to have music to play. I could write the music.
Mr. Benjamin, thanks for telling us what it's like to be a composer and telling us a little bit about the piece. And I know I can't wait for this concert.
Thanks. Actually, neither can I, because to hear the whole orchestra and the chorus and the narrator, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the reaction of other people. That's something special. I can imagine the music, but to be able to share it with people, and especially to have a wonderful orchestra and a terrific chorus, and then be surrounded by people. So you've all got to come, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the performances of A Secret Gift.